So then, welcome along to another live stream on the channel. I did a live stream the other day doing the PDC World Championship draw reaction. Going through my thoughts and opinion as the draw was announced. And today we got a very special guest, Matthew Edgar. We've got a few sort of pointers to sort of get us through this interview. But first of all, how is the preparation for Lakeside, and how are you feeling at the moment?
Good. I'm probably not ready in terms of packing the clothes and all the travel arrangements and everything that needs to be done, but hopefully that will just take care of itself. But in regards to actually being ready to play a game of darts, I think I'm there. I think I'm ready.
Right, we're just going to rewind it. Obviously, we'll come towards Lakeside at a later date in this interview, but the main thing I wanted to start off was your darting journey. How your videos, I watch them all the time with, how you got into it, and obviously darts being about stories and about being a story. How did darts obviously happen for you at the very start, and are you happy with how it progressed and to where you are at the present day?
I'm loving the little graphics you've got on the screen as well. Actually, you're gonna have to show me how to do all this. I ain't got a
Yeah,
clue. I've got StreamYard, so I don't even know how to use it.
I'll have to show you.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so I was lucky how I fell into darts. I was just on a holiday and just bought a sticky dartboard, and then from there just played on it and loved playing darts. And a lot of family history in there that I didn't realize at the time. And I ended up falling into what would ultimately be a career for me. And it's just one of those things. I think, like most people, when they pick up a set of darts for the first time, they start playing it, whether it's a sticky dartboard, the old wooden dartboard, their first round wire dartboard, whatever it was. When you throw a dart, you either love it or you hate it. You'll go down your local club, you'll see people get the darts from behind the bar, they put them down and they go back to pool or snooker. So I think darts is one of those things that once you throw it, you're either instantly hooked or you're not. And for me, I was instantly hooked and knew it's what I wanted to do from 7 years old.
When was that first breakout moment where you thought, like, at 3 years of age, or 7 years of age, at a young age, you're just throwing it for the enjoyment? But when was there that moment that, hang on, I can make a living out of this, I can, win things out of this, I can win money from this, I can go far? When was that sort of spark, and was there a spark? Because some players say there wasn't and they just felt it. Was there like a defining moment for you, or did it
There
just
was two.
happen?
There was two for me. So the first one probably came when I was 13, 14. It's that sort of age when I first started playing darts properly, not just playing in my bedroom, actually going out and playing in clubs and pubs, which is what darts was when I was young. And I was winning, and I was winning titles, and I was winning adult titles, and it was unheard. It's a very rare story at that time to have young players coming through. So for me, I had it then, but then I'd say I lost that as I transitioned from youth darts to adult darts because the difference was too much
Yeah.
and there wasn't those bridges before and there wasn't the systems in place. And I really struggled with going from winning a lot to not winning very much. And I struggled with that. So I went and did wrestling. And for me, when I was doing wrestling and MMA and doing other sports, I didn't think I'd play darts again, even though I loved it. I was just a fan. That was my thing. I would just watch darts. I'd go to the match play. I'd go to different events to watch them. My dad needed an extra player. My dad still carried on. So darting family, I didn't even realize. My dad carried on playing, and one night he needed some help, and he goes, "Matt, we're short tonight." I said, "I don't play darts. I can't do it." And he goes, "Well, I'd rather you play than us give away the win. So come and play, and whatever happens, happens." I said, "Okay, I'll do that." I had 11-13 dart and won 2-0. Okay, well,
Yeah.
maybe there's something in this. So I started playing again, playing Super League, playing County, and I looked at the system and I thought that I don't want to play this system. I don't want to go to what was then the BDO. I don't want that's not darts to me. And I went to it was a Grand Slam qualifier. And
Yeah.
I looked at it, went, "Oh, this is how darts should be. This is proper. This is professional."
Yeah.
So I then started practicing with Kevin Painter, and to see where I was, Kevin Painter was sort of like quarterfinalist at the World Championship. He was in the top 16 of the world, and I could challenge him. I couldn't beat him, but I
But
could
close.
challenge him. Yes.
Yeah.
So I thought if I can get close to a player in the world's top 16, maybe I need to go give Q School a go. And then got into the UK Open 2011, got to the fourth round of that, and then just played on the tour then for 11 years, never really looked back.
In terms of like that UK Open in 2011 that you mentioned, was that sort of the moment for you that I'm playing with Kevin Painter, I'm not beating him, but I'm getting close to a top 16 player. You're not talking 32 to 64, 64 to 128. We're talking one of the best of the best. Was that moment for you like, okay, I can, if I can compete with him, I could beat a lot of these other players that are on the tour at the moment?
That was my thought going into the qualifiers for that event and going into trying getting into the UK Open. But when I was in the UK Open, honestly, I thought that was my tournament. I thought that was my moment.
Yeah,
I went in the first round. I got through to the fourth round. I saw the tournament progress. It was at the old Bolton Stadium as well, so the boards got reduced as it went. And just being there, I thought this is the pinnacle for me. It can't get any better than this. But
yeah,
then ultimately, I reinvested the money I made there, which was £2,000 at the UK Open, not a big payer, certainly back in 2011. But from there, I was like, right, I'm going to invest. I'm going to go to Canada. I'm going to go to
yeah,
Canada and play darts. And I did. I went over there and I ended up winning more. And I'm like, right, okay, now I'm going to keep reinvesting this and kept putting it back. Paid for myself to go to Q school. I was doing the tour in 2011. I got a tour card in 2012. So it sort of really did open a lot of doors and opportunities for me, that 2011 UK Open. Also, I think because I got a few Sky Sports interviews as well, where
yeah,
of course you do, it's your tournament, you think it's
yeah,
your one. I'm stood there giving it the whole wrestling interviews saying I want to play Phil Taylor. So
yeah.
naturally at the back of that got a little bit of a coverage as well. So yeah, there was a lot of positivity from that event. And if it wasn't for the 2011 UK Open, I'd never would have played.
Yeah, so more over like the time on the tour then, you've had ups and downs on tour. Was sort of like the mindset of being on that pro tour where it's quick turnover, you're playing, you could play, one of the very best on, stages and obviously playing behind closed doors, which the pro tour is. Does it I know I will mention that certain finish against Gary Anderson, but
Yeah.
when you hit those big finishes or when you beat those players, the likes of Van Gerwen, Taylor, and stuff like that. Does it feel hard to contain it, knowing that you've just beat someone like that, even if it's behind closed doors, or is it I like this is behind closed doors, no one's going to see this because at the start of the Pro Tour it wasn't streamed as it is now.
The world of the Pro Tour is so different to the world that we see it in when we sit this side of the sport.
Yeah,
So there is no fear, there is no egos, there is no sort of aura about hardly anybody in that room. Everybody is there to win. Now, I think the best thing to describe it is I've been doing the WDF tour this year, and when you go there, there's people that fear people. Go, oh, that person's in my draw, and you look at it and you go, is a person who averages like 85. Why are you so scared of him?
yeah,
But yeah, on the tour, you average 85. Everyone's like, oh, I want to draw him. I'll bash him up. So it's really one of those sort of situations where I don't want to say, but there is no egos, there is no reputations, no one gives a damn. That's the easiest
yeah,
way of putting it. No one really cares. There are a couple of people that you care. I talk about that Gary Anderson win so much because to me it was somebody who I cared about, and
yeah,
I would have been the same about Taylor. I beat Michael Van Gerwen. Do I mention that? Hardly ever. This is probably one of the only times I really mention it because to me, Michael was someone who was of my generation. Yes, he was a generational talent well above what I've done, but he was still of my. I found it harder going up against a Ronnie Baxter than I
yeah,
do playing Luke Humphries.
yeah,
Who again, when we talk about players, I beat Luke Humphries, I beat Michael Smith. I don't mention those players because again, I find they're of my sort of generation of Pro Tour players. Yes, they exceeded, but I definitely, I would say, if you was to put me up against Dennis Ovens or Ronnie Baxter, I'd probably struggle more than I would against one of the big names now.
I think
And
the fan element of it of watching them
yes,
grow up to them playing against them.
exactly that. Exactly. That's why I find what Luke Littler does so remarkable because he's watched all these people growing up. Now he's just bashing them.
Yeah, yeah, and you got some of the most experienced players in the world saying, "No, I don't want him," which for me, like I'm 5 years older than him, and it just scares me the fact that we've got someone of that ilk. I will talk on the PDC World Championships in a second, but is there any regrets you have from your 11 or however many, I think it was 11, 12 years on the Pro Tour? Is there any regrets that you have from your time there? Is there any missed opportunities that you sort of look on and think if that happened, something would have, changed
Yeah.
the outcome?
There's always moments. I mean, 2014 stands out to me. 256 players go in the Grand Slam of Darts qualifier, and I got through to the final and lost. And then 2 weeks later, got to the final of the World Championship qualifier and lost. One game away on 2 occasions there from the World Championships and from the Grand Slam of Darts. But if there was one thing I'd use and say, and this is something that I offer advice a lot of the time, it's don't rush to the Pro Tour. Like I said, for me, it was Pro Tour or nothing. And there's a lot of people that have that sort of attitude. And what it does is it doesn't teach you to be a winner. And I will openly put my hands up and say, I did not and do not have the mindset of an out and out winner. And with that, I was happy to be a professional dart player. I was happy to earn a living. If I came away and I'd got to the last 16, I would probably be like, oh, that's great. I've won my board. I've got off 2 seeds. I've got this much prize money. But it lowers down the bar of expectation. Now, when I went to the WDF for the first time, I was like, I'm going to win this. I'm going to win. And when I went away, the only thing I cared about was winning the tournaments. And I think that's something people need to remember. Learn to win first, because when you get on that tour, it can eat you alive. You can lower the bar of expectation to the point there are people on the practice boards happy if they've just won 1 game. In what world
competition aspect of it is you forget the competitive aspect.
In what world are you ever happy to lose round 2?
Yeah, you don't go into the tournament happy to lose, saying, "Oh well, I've equaled my money that it's taken me to get hotel accommodation, etc., etc."
Well, let's say there's 3 Pro Tours on. If there's 3 Pro Tours on, you get to the second round each day, you've won 3 grand. Now, people will come home and go, I'm happy with that. I've won 3 grand. I'm all right with that. But in the reality of it, you've lost in the second round 3 times. Where else would you ever be happy with that?
And that loss of money could result in not being at Minehead, not being at Ali Pali. That loss of money is massive. On the brighter side then, 3 times at Alexandra Palace. First of all, what was that first moment like of stepping onto that stage? It looks, as a fan, looks illustrious, but obviously you've been lucky enough to be on it 3 times. What is that sort of first moment like?
Not what you think it is. It is not. Most people expect you to sit here and describe this as a sense of it's overwhelming, it's a great moment, all these different things. It's not. It's flat. It is flat. You expect something to come from the room, and what you learn is you need to inject it into the room. You're not there to draw from the room. You're there to be the room. And it took me a couple of attempts to figure that out. And I think the third year I played a lot better because I worked it out that the room's not going to give me something.
Yeah.
Just because it's Ali Pali, just because it's a World Championships, I still need to be me. And I spoke to Luke Humphries about this, actually. I did an interview on my own channel with Luke about it, and he said the exact same thing, that when you go there, it is flat. You're expecting something to happen, and it doesn't. And you need to inject that into it. And again, advice-wise, that'd be what I'd tell absolutely anyone looking to get involved. When you get to the top, don't think that you've got, because we're always like, I've got to try and stay calm, got to calm myself down, got to try and no, go with it.
Let it out.
Yeah, because the room's not going to do it for you.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there. So obviously you mentioned about it not being what everyone makes it out to be as a player aspect, but what did that first win? Obviously we know the haunted Darius Labanauskas that caught you out 2 times. But what did that first win against Mike Ivanhoven mean, and sort of just being able to just say, I've won at the World Championship? One of the best percentages on double 16 in that game as well, which was incredible as well. But
9 out of 10 for the tournament. I got all the stats still. 75% checkout percentage as well, which I believe was temporarily a joint record with Mark Webster until Michael Smith went and beat it. So thanks for that. I didn't even get my moment in that.
Cheers, Mike.
So yeah, absolutely. There's no greater feeling than winning that, and that's when you start thinking about things where, once game shot on the match is done, you do your interview, you come off, you stand there and you go, I've actually won now on the Alexandra Palace stage. And then you think, I'm now going to get paid £15,000, and then you start to think of all
Yeah.
these other, that's going to go on my rankings. And then you think, I'm going to play for 25 grand in a couple of days. And,
Yeah.
so all these different things start creeping in. And then, like, it's exciting. And I say that's where I sort of learned to run with it. Don't try and bottle it up. That's what we play for. You play for that moment of excitement. That's why you go to the tour all year. That's why you sacrifice, you make the commitments.
Yeah.
And until now, in my life, darts has always come first. Whatever's
Yeah.
been going on in my world, darts comes first. Whether it was going to practice, whether it was going to a tournament, doesn't matter. Oh, it's your mum's birthday. Don't care. I've got darts. Oh, it's
Yeah.
this. I don't care. Got darts. I'll try and fit it in around darts. And my life came around darts, and you make that sacrifice for the hope that you get that moment. And I had one on that stage.
Yeah. There's a theory going around at the World Championships that the player that plays in the first round before playing the seed has that extra confidence in themselves because they've already won one game at Alexandra Palace on the stage. Did that sort of take into the game against Mensa that I've won here before? Yes, he's the seed, but I've already won here a few days ago. Did that sort of give you that extra confidence and sort of belief that you could have beat Mensa Sulovic?
I believed 100% I was going to win that game. I really did. And if I replay that night back in my mind again, at no point did I believe I was going to lose. Even
Yeah,
when Mensah kicked off as well as he did, he blitzed me in the first set. I hit back in the second set, and I thought at that point I've got you. Um,
yeah,
I didn't think he was going to sustain it. If we go back in time and remember what Mensah was like at that period of time, he was pulling out of tournaments left, right, and centre. He was throwing up backstage with nerves, refusing to go out. I thought, oh, I've got you.
yeah,
I'm going to win this. We go through the media room. Everyone's like potential upset, and I think that was sort of the narrative that was spun at the time as well. If I could have kept my finishing upset, and I did keep my finishing up, it was just Mensah played an incredible game of darts, and yeah, it was a shame, and I feel like that's the one that got away because then it would have been Gary Anderson in the next round, which I'd have loved that opportunity.
especially if you would have left 170, you would have gone for
It
that
was the
one.
same year. It was the
Yeah,
same year that I took that
yeah,
out because I think if I remember right, Gary said at the hotel, he's like, "I hope you get through because I'm fed up of you going on about that 170." So he was after me. So
yeah. In terms of that game against Mensa, do you think if there was, I know it's all if buts, maybes, hypothetical, but if there was a player that night with a bit of a quicker game that matched yourself, do you think maybe it could have been a different outcome? Because obviously we know Mensa likes to slow the game down to his pace. He done that in the World Match Play final against Gary Anderson. Do you think it would have changed? Like I said, it's clutching at straws, but
no, I just think Mensah outclassed me on the day. That's all it was. He was just too strong. I put a good performance in. I think I averaged about 92 in the end. Tailed off towards the back end of the game. He was just class that night. It was the better man by a long way.
moving on away from the PDC, then before we get into the last segment, which is the World Championships, the WDF World Championships, you've sort of moved into this new area of commentating, especially on the Modus. You've said that there's more to come on the PDC in terms of the Pro Tours and stuff like that. How has that transition gone from being a very good player on the tour to then transitioning into sort of the commentary? Because I always think that the ex pros that do commentary do it 10 times better because they know what it feels like to be on that tour, and they know what it feels like to have certain challenges in certain games.
Yeah, and I think if you've lived a lifestyle, I believe, doesn't matter where you've lived that lifestyle. If you've lived that lifestyle and you understand it, then you can put that perspective across. And certainly, if you felt and experienced certain scenarios and certain things, I love the commentary. I really do. That's my future. That's where I think I'm going to be hanging my hat more than anything in regards to what I'm doing with darts. I've always loved darts. I want to be involved with darts. It allows me to be involved with darts in the public facing side. So
Yeah,
a lot of what I do, so I do a lot of roles within the sport, and a lot of them are not known what I do. It's sort of behind the scenes, sort of, or without name on that piece of work or that piece of material. And for that, it allows me to keep on that sort of front-facing side of the sport as well, which I do love. I
Yeah.
love being on that front-facing side of the sport. So, um, it just means I'm ultra busy all the time. I've got my diary now mapped out till May with the PDC, with Modus, with Sky, with Mission Darts and their YouTube channel, my own, and then coaching and bits that I'm doing. And the amount of days I have free until May is very, very limited. So even if I wanted to be a player in 2025, the likelihood is there's not many hours left in the day.
Final question on your darting journey, then, and then we will move on to the final topic. How much has your YouTube channel not affected as a bad way, but affected positively your progress in darts? You know, I've seen your live streams after you lost Pro Tours and the constant, well done, Matt. Played well today, played well, or if you had a bad day, head up, Matt, chin up. How much does that allow you to sort of just reflect and think, wow, I've got a big fan base here that will follow me?
I'm surprised more people don't use it or use platforms, because I've drawn so much from the platform that I've got on YouTube or whatever social media platform it is. It gives you an opportunity to interact both in positive and negative, gives people a chance to feel a part of the journey as well, which I
Yeah,
think is really important, because in 2024 it's so easy to be able to share that journey and to share that road and everything that you're out there doing. And it gives a bit of an insight as well, because not everyone's got the opportunity and the luxury to be able to do what I've done. And I consider it a very privileged position, and I want to try and share that, because I know on the other side of it, if I didn't have the privileged position that I do have, I would love to watch it. So essentially what I do is I make what I would like to watch. I
yeah.
don't think what do people want to see. I think what would I want to see, and that's what I make. And then ultimately, people that like that and are like-minded like myself will gravitate to it, and then that's where we've built an amazing community.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree. I watch all the live streams and stuff like that. That's why I wanted to sort of get that. I have got a couple of questions from the chat, which I'll bring in the final few minutes of the interview. But WDF World Championship, your journey this year has been ridiculous. I've seen you go to Iceland, to Scotland, all centres of Europe, getting that goal and having that goal of Lakeside. You do you have qualified for Lakeside. Jano Bottenberg in your first game, win that, and it's Ryan Hogarth. What does that just feel like? I know the PDC is obviously a great tournament, the Ali Pali, but what does that mean to qualify for Lakeside? Such a prestigious venue.
There's two places you want to play darts, Ali Pali or Lakeside. But I don't 100% believe this one's for me. I believe this is for everybody else as well, the people that have supported me. Because if you've been in the lives, you'll see I can't go one screen of chat without someone saying, when you're going back to Q School, when you're doing this, when you do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
right now, I can honestly say I am not good enough to succeed at Q School. I'm not good enough for the tour. I haven't got the time. I haven't got the physical capabilities at the moment in terms of my own physical health to be able to deal with the demands of the tour. So with that, I thought, how can I do this in a way that I can reward the people that want to see me play more? And this was the option, because I know I'm good enough to compete at the WDF,
yeah,
not at the PDC. And I know I could do the WDF on a part-time basis. I mean, some of the things, like you say going to Iceland. I remember I flew back from Philadelphia, which
yeah.
was like Hey, I
Oh, I
landed,
remember
got my
the wrestling.
case, and then
Yeah,
I went again. And it was like, so these are some of the trips that I've managed to squeeze in, and it's like I'm going there sometimes with very little or no practice, and I'm like, just I hope something happens, and then I've just managed to get enough points. I mean, the second I qualified and guaranteed it from the Welsh Open, I never played again in a tournament after that, other than the World Masters.
yeah,
So and that's the only thing I've played in a few months, and I've just not had either, like I say, the physical capabilities or the time to be able to do that. But in regards to this tournament, I've prepared well. I'm
yeah.
practicing with top players, and I've put in some good hours and some good practice. So when it comes to Saturday night, I'm confident that something's going to come through.
Whilst we're on this, like the journey that of this conversation, I am going to drop different questions in from the chat room. One of my good mates, Chris, says, "What does Matt? Oh, who does Matt think will win the WDF apart from himself?" and what's his target in the WDF, or does he expect to win it?
Okay, so I think a lot will go on game one, because game one is shorter format. It's only best of 3 sets. I think if I get through game one, I'm going to go on a run. I do have Jimmy Van Ski in my section, which a lot of people think is the favourite, but I want that game. I want to play Jimmy Van Ski in the last 16 because I love nothing more than being the underdog and playing someone who's supposed to be the big favourite. I love that, and I thrive on that. And that, for me, would be incredible. I mean, this whole period of time, I'm going to say, has been incredible. You'll see I've got the tinsel up, the Christmas trees up. Practicing for a big game of darts while the Christmas decorations are up and the Christmas songs are on. This just makes me feel so good inside, because it brings back those times and those memories of good times playing in the World Championships. So as far as the target goes, get past the first one. I want to play Jimmy Van Ski.
Yeah, I saw your enthusiasm when you done the live stream reaction to the draw, and no part of you was saying, "Oh, Ryan Hogarth, that's a difficult game." It was like, "Get me to that Jano Bottenberg game, and then we'll go from there." Final question on the WDF then. Not so much the World Championship part of it, but qualifying, going to the events. How much of an impact was Zach Thornton in sort of having him there, throughout the journey? The relationship you two have is brilliant. Just having someone there, because I can imagine if you was going to these events by yourself, playing the event, going back.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone. Zach's passion for darts is bigger than mine. I mean, my passion for darts is darts in general. His passion for darts is actually playing. He would play darts from the moment he wakes up. He's not very good at it. He just loves playing. Yeah. And with that, he sort of gives me a kick up the butt a lot of the time. And he's like, let's go to this tournament. I'm like, nah, I've got a weekend off. I don't really want to do that. He's like, no, we're going to this tournament. Come on, let's get booked and let's go. So he's kind of that. And then the other thing is, it's a lot of traveling. It's a lot of time, like in airports and away, and I just wouldn't have done it. I would not have. I maybe have done a few, but I certainly wouldn't have gone to as many if it weren't for Zach.
Yeah, final 2 questions then, because I know you have got a lot of things coming
whole
up.
Evening of it, yeah.
The first thing is a very centered question. It's from Stephen. Opinions on Bunting's chance for the Premier League. Both of these 2 questions are Premier League related. Then I'm going to ask you your prediction for the World Championship, and then I'll let you go.
Okay, yep. It's purely for me on the Premier League will be based on the World Championships for Stephen Bunting. I don't think he's in as it stands. I think he needs to do a bit more. There's one opportunity for him. That's the World Championship. So if it goes well there, I think he could be in. Certainly in regards to his ranking position, he's not defending a lot. So, but he needs a big World Championship.
And then the final question is again from Chris. Would Matt change the Premier League format or keep it? For me, I'll just give my opinion. For me, I don't, as a fan at home, I can't get into the groove of enjoying it. But I can imagine if I was there, obviously my local one is Cardiff. If I was in that venue, I imagine I would have a completely different sort of opinion on it.
Yeah, that tends to be the general vibe and feedback you get as well when it looks at the Premier League. Personally, I'd change it, but and I think I'd change it for the benefit of the players as well. We're looking now in all sports in regards to off seasons and downtime, and darts is something that's not considered, that because darts is still on an upwards curve, that it's not considering where you level off for athletes' benefits.
Yeah.
We look at the WWE wrestling, they're an all year round product, but this year they've changed it to the fact they're doing some pre-records to give their talent some time off.
Yeah.
And with the Premier League, I'd like to see it split into 2 divisions, an A and a B week. So we get A week, we get odds, and B week we get evens, and you get different. And then from there, the A and the B week can make 1 league. So you've got a promotion there as well. So you get different matches throughout the time, but also you get the opportunity there to have a week off and a week on, because it's not, the thing is, it's not just playing a game of darts on a Thursday night. You've got to be there Wednesday. Yeah. So you've got to be there on Wednesday. Then you're there Thursday. Then you might have to, you're either traveling through the night or you're traveling Friday. Then what you're doing at weekends is European tours, for example. You know, you're going from Thursday there, flying straight out, doing a European tour at the weekend. You land back on the Monday. You've got Tuesday, Tuesday, then Wednesday you're back for media. So it's a whole lot. And the thing is, right, and this is where I said we said earlier about people that understand the lifestyle.
Yeah.
A lot of people, what they don't get is they go like, where they go, oh, it's only an airport. I love going to the airport. Yeah, but that's because you're going on holiday
Yeah.
once a year.
Yeah.
And you're going there for something that's quite fun once a year. When you're in an airport 2-3 times a month, maybe more, that's when it becomes a bit, you just sat around doing nothing again and trying to find something to kill time with, eating terrible food all the time, getting fleeced for everything you buy at the airport or on the planes. And,
Yeah.
you know, being in a bed with a wardrobe that's got clothes in rather than coming out of your suitcase all the time, it
Yeah.
makes a difference.
Yeah, 100%. Final thing then is the PDC World Championship. We've seen unlikely winners of majors, Mike Edgar, Richie Edhouse. We've seen players that, going on deep runs like Mickey Mansell, Martin Lukeman, who you probably would never have predicted. But for you, who wins the PDC World Darts Championship? Is it just one of Luke?
Yeah, absolutely. There will be shocks. Absolutely, there'll be shocks. There'll be surprises. There's a lot of good players on the international qualifier side of things. There's going to be a lot of shocks and surprises, but I don't think we're going to get a surprise world champion. I think that's a step too far. The format being set play, the format being long form set play, I think eventually the best players will come to the top.
Yeah, because I said obviously I'm going to be doing like my prediction per bracket closer to the World Championship in the next week or so. And I keep saying to everyone who says, oh, but they could be a shock. I'm just looking at first to 4-5 sets. Can someone dethrone a Humphreys or a Littler or Anderson, Van Gogh? And I just can't see it because they're so relentless and they can just have different gears during games.
Well, when was the last time it happened?
Yeah.
You know, that's the answer to, yeah, there could be a shock, but when was the last time we had a big first round shock? Was it, I think of Antonio Alcinas beating Peter Wright, but what was that, 2020?
I've looked at ones that nearly happened, like the Noel Malik Dem situation, the Rennie Idams, but even then, that's first to 3, and again, like you say, the creamers still rose to the top in that Van Gerwen and Peter Wright situation. You need to play the top players. Yeah. As Chris said, you need to play the top players early because you can get them on the first game, and if you go in to get them in a tournament, as we've seen at the Europeans. The world match play, you've got to get them first, second round, because otherwise the format sort of suits them and favours them in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, I just want to say a massive shout out to Matthew Edgar. Edgar TV is obviously where you can find him, where I'm sure he will be doing some sort of preparation video for Saturday. Again, thank you for your time. Really do appreciate it. And best of luck on Saturday. I'll be watching that game, hoping that you smash Jano Bottenberg and then take on Ryan Hogarth. But
that's the plan.
Big shout out, and thank you so much for your time.
No problems.
Cheers. Thank you.
No.
There is Matthew Edgar, Chris Welch there saying Edgar TV, the best channel out there. Yeah, very, very privileged to have got Matthew Edgar on. I do appreciate all the comments and the questions. I couldn't ask a lot of the questions because I was trying to keep it in the flow of asking him the best, questions at the right time. Obviously, we managed to get onto the Premier League. That's why I asked the questions about the Premier League, and that's why I asked Chris's question about the WDF. But yeah, massive shout out to Matthew Edgar. I probably will post a few of those clips on my TikTok account, sort of from the interview. But big shout out to Edgar. Really was appreciating for him to come on and obviously spare his time for me. He is a busy man. He's got a world championship to come and prepare for in the next few days. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed this live stream with the one and only Edgar TV. And I'll speak to you guys in the next video or live stream. And yeah, basically appreciate your guys' support. Appreciate your questions and comments during that interview. I'll speak to you in the next video. Thanks for watching.